Hello and welcome to today's live. What is the subject for today? Well, if you've known anything about non immigrant visas, one of the business type visas is called an L1. Okay. That's basically for people who have a company outside the US and they come in and they either start a company in this US or they purchase one already in operation. So I want to discuss the differences between an L1A and an L1B and which one you should choose, what the differences are and how you decide which is which. Okay? And then after I will go back, I will see whatever questions you guys had. So if you have any immigration questions, go ahead and just put them in the queue and I will go back after the live and I will read, well, not after the live, but after my spiel on L1A versus L1B. And then I will let you know what the difference is and answer the questions. Okay? So, what is the difference between an L1A and an L1B? Well, first of all, without even telling you the difference, if you have the choice to pick an L1A versus an L1B, you should do it at any time, whenever you can. Because an L1A allows more years in the US and it follows if you want to afterwards, if you qualify for what's called an EB1 multinational manager petition for the green card. Okay, L1B doesn't do that. So an L1A deals with managers, okay, managerial. An L1B deals with specialized knowledge. Okay, so what that means is that for an L1A, that means that you're either an executive, that you have done some kind of managerial control of the company. And L1B essentially means you know how to create a widget, you know how the company works, and you're really good at doing that. Okay, you have inside specialized knowledge inside the company. So an L1A as a specialized manager allows you to come to the US in which to manage a company in the US. And there's different forms of, executive control, managerial control, whatever it is. That's what you're doing in the US under an L1A. And when you're here under an L1A, again, you are able to eventually apply for the EB1C multinational manager visa for the green card. And that, by the way, is one of the best ways to obtain the green card. Okay, there's all kinds of, people say, well, the only way to get the green card is through marriage, which of course is not the case. And then there's the ones that say, well, there's all kinds of ways to do it through employment. But that takes many applications, lots of years, and so forth. And the best way, one of the best way, is the multinational manager visa. Even better than the EB5 investment visa, okay? And all that begins with the L1A, not the L1B. Now, if you're not a manager and you don't have executives control and you still want to come or your company still wants you to come to the US, well, then, if you have to pick L1B, you have to because it is a category and it does allow you to come. But, you're not going to be able to later apply for the green card based on that. But there's ways that you might be able to change later on. You could come on an L1B as a specialized knowledge employee and then after some years of doing that, you might be promoted to manager. And then, of course, you would have to file an amendment of the L1B to the L1A. Okay, does all that make sense? So the L1s, by the way, are not dependent on what country you're from, where the business is. You know, like for example, if we were talking E2s, which is another type of non immigrant visa, that would require that you come from a treaty country, and if you're not, there's no E2. The L1, you could be born in, South Africa, have a business in the UK, and still do an L1 no problem in the US. Okay, so while the nationality is important to determine and get approved for the L1, where you come from is not a requirement. Okay, even where the business is not a requirement of the L1. So if you're outside the country now and you're thinking about doing this, try to see if you can, either get promoted or run the firm so that when you come here, you have a better chance at the L1A. And I've had clients that have said, well, I can't get an L1A. The company's small. It's not like IBM. We don't have 10,000 people. Go, you don't need that. Okay, I've done L1s with less than 10 people in the company. And it's worked. Okay, it's just a matter of how you manage and what executive controls and whether you manage even a specific division of the company. Okay, so that's how that all works. All right, so that was short, sweet, and to the point. So let's see if we have any questions today. I know it's early, but sometimes we do the live early because I have to I have to do consults after. So let's see. I'm scrolling through now to see if anybody has put any questions. Again, if it's an immigration question and it's a U.S. immigration question, then we're good to go. Note that I've had people ask me different questions about different countries, and while I could make an educated guess, I'm not a lawyer in those other countries, so I couldn't specifically tell you the answers. So we have a lot of people that join, but we yet don't have a lot of questions. Let's see. Which is okay. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Just a minute. Give me a second. I know you gotta be patient here. I'm scrolling through, seeing if we have any questions. It looks like we don't have questions this morning. So this is a short live, okay? So we're going to conclude the live now. And then if you do have questions in the future or you want more information on the L1A, give my office a call, send me a message on TikTok, or any of the multiple ways that you can get in touch with me. All right? Everybody have a good day.